Good day, lords and ladies, and welcome back to another episode of Barony post-commentary review Let's Play. Now, quickly diving in, as you can see the Minotaur is coming, so me and my friend Defuax are desperately trying to get out, so expect it to be a rather tense standoff. We relatively quickly find the exit. As always, I'm rather paranoid about not getting cornered by the Minotaur, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to say the least. A couple of items lying around. Quickly changing of weapons. I like the reach the spear gives me when versing various enemies. So the run itself isn't going too badly. I mean, my health is relatively poor at the moment, at only half health as you can see. But that sort of happens a lot in this game. I did die quite a lot and we didn't have any healing abilities, which is always a bit of a problem. Almost died there. Yeah, you have to be so careful in this game. The slightest slip up and you die horribly. And there we are, down to the next floor. Giving some potions to the Fuax. I'm pretty sure, yep. And the NPC steals equipment, which is just fantastic. Which is not a particularly fantastic thing to do. I tend to keep potions hanging around just because you can throw them at opponents, which is a nice thing. Anything that gives you an edge in battle I find is quite useful. Now, we are on the second of the 4 levels on the forest level, so you will be expecting to see blue slimes, poisonous spiders, and the ever-present goblins. And the NPC steals more equipment, so yay. Makes me want to kick his head in sometimes, the NPCs. I really don't like them. Well, I don't say don't. They have their uses, but at the same time they're so frustrating. Interestingly, I have been informed by the Fuax that the reason that I was having less light in the game, and also yes, I can see the goblin coming across, but the reason I can see less light in the game is the fact that my perception skill is rather low, and that seems to affect light levels. Now, I have mentioned in previous games how I'd like there to be some like DLC and stuff. It doesn't look like that's going to happen from what I can tell. Developers don't have much plans outside of just sort of general bug fixing and tweaking of this game, which I think is a bit of a shame. I think it would have been really, really nice to have some extra content added to it, just to buff out the general experience. But we can't all get what we wish for, so we just have to be patient. Hopefully they will be developing another game and it will be as equally enjoyable to play as this. But until then we'll just have to wait and see. And we come across a potion shop, which is relatively handy. This is why you always want to keep nasty potions for potions floating around, because the shop seller doesn't really care. Interesting side note, you could with bottles of poison or anything that was toxic, historically speaking, the little bottles you got were very distinct in colour and in shape. You can normally tell if it was a poison bottle or like an arsenic bottle, judging from the colour and the shape of the bottle that it was in. It's really quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, the shop sellers can just buy everything as long as it's within their range of merchandise. So if you want to hang on to poison potions or hang on to cursed potions to sell them and it works, money is money in this game after all. Now, I was buying fruit juice and stuff because it can get your health up, which I find useful. But health-wise, we're not doing fantastically well. Came across an NPC that got done in by a boulder. But yeah, it's interesting. The forest level for boulders anyways, I find to be one of the nastier levels for them, partly because obviously the tree canopy blocks out a lot of the visible signs that you would have with them. So it's a lot easier to trigger traps. The Fuax does it all the time on this level, especially boulder traps. Yeah, it's not great. Really not great. So yeah, I just hate boulder traps so much. Hate them. Now these are one of these dungeon rooms where you've got like multiple tough creatures in them, which is not fun. Now I'm here chucking stuff, trying to get health up and analysing various items. It was rather useful actually. My appraise level had gone up rather quickly, which was nice. Locked chest. It's a bit of a shame. They are. Ah, yes. And then this happens. I accidentally walked in front of him, and because I have friendly fire on, I went blind from basically taking a magical spell to the face. It's not particularly fantastic. Hopefully, I didn't stab him at all. And yes, rather tough. I think it was a goblin set. I think it was a goblin wizard or shaman. Couldn't quite recall. The goblins are actually surprisingly dangerous. You shouldn't really underestimate them. By this point in the game, they are pretty potent adversaries to meet. So you should probably take all care and attention not to get cornered by them, especially the wizard classes, which are ludicrously powerful for this point in the game. Personally, I'd rather take on a troll at this point in the game than taking on a goblin wizard. Just me. I find the goblin wizards are a lot more dangerous. They tend to have fireball spells, lightning spells, or frost spells, which are pretty nasty things to come across. But it's everyone's personal taste. I mean, no one wants to walk down the corner in a dark alley and bump into a troll. You all saw what happened with one of our playthroughs when that happened. We all died screaming like little terrified children that we are. Well, I'd say we all are. I mean, I think the Fuax got clubbed by a boulder. He went out bravely. We went out very poorly indeed. Now we've got some more gems. Personally, I don't really care that much about gems. I know that they're useful as a trading resource with general stores and jewellery shops, but nah. It's the Fuax is a lot more keen on keeping them. Personally, I don't really care. I mean, if I'm playing on my own, I'll keep a small stash of them on me, just for if I get a trader and I want to get some money, I can sell them to them. But on the whole, it's like I won't laden myself down with the things, especially if they're not particularly fantastic quality. And there's the Fuax. Now, some of the more keen-eyed amongst you may have noticed that I believe it was starting to get slightly laggy at this point, which is slightly unfortunate. I don't know why it does it. I mean, I know we're across like the Atlantic and everything, but even so, it shouldn't be. I mean, this isn't a particularly high frame rate dependent game, so it shouldn't have been dropping to the levels it was, which is a bit. But hey ho, you can't do anything about it. It's one of the reasons I tend to play a lot of single player games. The internet in Cornwall isn't fantastic, to be honest, and I'm not particularly willing to sell out the money required to get fibre optic. So there you go. What can I say? I like my money. I'm a knight. Have to be saving up for that plate armour. Won't buy itself. Especially not if we're paying it by the Soul Sanctuary methods of payment. God, that's a lot of money. I blew my entire budget in Soul Sanctuary on particularly nice armour. Now with this particular thing, the reason I normally don't keep these little bits in where I die just because it takes time, but as you see I get smashed by a boulder, because what happens is that he triggers a trap and I panic and I basically flee and get run over by it. Now the reason we kept this particular bit in is the fact that from time to time the Fuax within our games, and it happens to me as well, has suffered from what we call instant teleporting. I don't know what it is, but he will literally teleport back to the beginning, well, he will teleport back to the starting room. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why it does this. There shouldn't be anything in the coding of the game, I don't think, or in the game itself, that sort of causes this to happen. And it happens several times. I mean, I trimmed down the amount of times it happened just because it would be boring for you guys to watch. But he literally, I think he does it like 3 or 4 times in this level. It seems to be some kind of time thing that was happening. He got to a particular amount of time and then literally it flicked him back to the starting room on the level, which is not fantastic, as you can imagine. But hey ho, you see it for yourself in a second. You'll literally see him flip from this room to another room. I also partly kept it in because he wanted to see what it looked like, because he hasn't actually witnessed it in third person before. Maybe it's something that developers can look at. But that's fun enough time to see. Look, there you go. Literally, he's just been. That's teleportation we're talking about. He gets zipped straight back to the starting room, which is not fantastic. Now, as I said, this happened several times, and yeah, as you can tell, the lag is starting to happen now. It's weird. It doesn't happen. I think it must be tied to items lying on the floor or something, because normally when you enter a level, the lag isn't too bad, and the longer you stay in a level, especially the deeper you are down, the laggier it becomes. So, I mean, the easiest way I ever found to cure it is literally just like leaving the floor, and the lag goes back to lag goes back to regular levels where it's no lag at all. And he also is suffering from the fantastic old problem of he can't see stuff. I don't know why it affects him sometimes, but occasionally we'll get a run where literally the items either go invisible or he just can't pick them up, which is a bit frustrating. And look, he's now been teleported back to the starting room again. Now, if the developers are watching this, I would really like to know why it's happening to him like this. I don't know why. Also, I think the Fuax would like to know why it's happening to him like this as well. Now, we just he does it several times, we just sort of skip past us and jump to the next level. This is a rather short episode, so if you have liked, please press the like button. If you wish to subscribe, please press the subscription button. There are links to my Facebook and Twitter accounts on the description below. Now, there will be another episode of this going up, because this is a midweek madness episode, so I hope all of you have enjoyed, and I shall leave you to the final bit of our adventure so far. Goodbye.